involved with Daniel Morad, of course, a professional GT3 racing driver. Daniel's experience in real race cars is
two-time Rolex world champion.
Yeah, he's got the trophies to say that he knows what he's doing. But he's also a fantastic sim racer with a really good sim racing team called Moradness. His lifestyle brand have got their own sim racing team, the M Squad. So we said, look, Daniel, we would like to make a road dash, and we want to make a road dash that's different. We don't want to just be another dashboard that throws.
This episode is brought to you by Trophy AI, the ultimate performance coach tool for sim racers. Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here by Mr. Eric Kelly and Mr. Daniel Newman from Daniel Newman Racing. How is everybody doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
I'm good. Thanks for having me again.
Danny, it's been a long time, man. Danny and I have been speaking about, his coming back to the show, and I was just trying to find a good time. And I don't know, this is like the perfect scenario because of all the wonderful things that have been happening in the sim racing world. If you're not caught up, we are here to help with that.
Oh yeah.
And it's an absolute honor to, Danny's been a huge friend of the show, a huge supporter of the show as well. Yeah. So thank you so much, Danny, for allowing the time and your busy schedule. I know how it is, man. And especially the time zone, because if you can see by Eric's picture,
looks a little different back here.
Yeah, it's a little odd time that we're doing, but I told Daniel, I was like, Daniel, we need to find a happy medium because we're on the same earth. We're on the same earth. It's just a different time of day, I guess. We're in the past, he's in the future, but
don't go to sleep down. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Sleep when you die. That's what Jeff says. And Jeff, unfortunately, couldn't make it. Jeff is it's always something. Like if Daniel Newman comes on the show, well, no, he was here for the Christmas party. Yeah,
he was here. Party. I wasn't there. It's like can't get everybody on at the same time for some reason. I don't know what it is.
It's just, it's just different strokes for different folks, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, a little announcements here. I have none other than the sun burnt down my face. I had some time off and was visiting family down in Puerto Rico, and I was having the time of my life. And I'm actually happy to be home, though. I'm happy to be back here in front of the camera. But batteries are definitely recharged to max. So
nice.
Eric, what about you, brother? How was your week, and what's been going on with you, brother?
Week was good. I made what I think is a pivotal upgrade to my rig. As you can see behind me here, I finally got rid of the Honda Civic seat and got a legitimate racing seat.
Oh, snap. Oh, you're legit now. Okay.
Yeah, man. And in my mind, a seat's a seat, right? Keeps your butt off the ground, lets you press the brake, gas, all that stuff. And once you get a real seat, not knocking, I got my Civic seat. It's still right here. My girls like to sit in it and pretend like they're driving a car and stuff. But there are benefits to having a legitimate racing seat. Like I say, that the stability is unmatched. It makes sense. Right.
Which we of course will get some deeper thoughts on that with all your upgrades. But I'm happy to see that. It's kind of cool, right? When you're building a rig and it's gradual, and any little upgrade just makes you want to try everything again. Like, let me see how this feels. Let me see how that feels.
Oh yeah.
Or let me adjust this now that I have the ability to adjust the seat a little further in the seat's case, right? So those are the things that I'm kind of jealous about, because once you have everything, there's a lot of the next upgrade is motion, and that is expensive.
Oh yeah.
Those are the big bucks.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. We will get back to that in a future episode, but we will have to put that on hold. Mr. Daniel Newman, tell me, how's it going over there in the UK, the beautiful UK? What's going on?
It's hot right now. um, it's a heat wave right now, and the UK is not built for heat. So people say, oh, you know, you go on holiday and you get the heat, and then you get England heat. England heat is different. Okay, so here buildings are built to keep the heat in because it rains lots and it's normally cold. So when it gets hot here, it gets hot.
It gets really hot.
It's so humid, and people walk around, and people look like they're going to just pass out everywhere because it's just so sweaty. So currently there's a heat wave. Best room in this house is this room because there's aircon. So
there you go.
People lose me all the time, and I come and sit out here, and I'm nice and cool. People are like, "Where are you?" And I said to my wife yesterday, I actually got too cold at work today. She looked at me, and I was like, "Oh, I know what I've done." So yeah, it's hot right now, but it's good. It's good. England is good today. Thank you.
So what's a heat wave in England? What's the numbers?
So we do Celsius here, not Fahrenheit. So I don't know what we're converting this to, but roughly 33 degrees Celsius, which in England is like
90 something
hot,
and almost 100.
It's just a really humid.
It's just the humidity. Horrid. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's just not nice, and there's no breeze. So when it's hot, it's not even like you know, it's you go on holiday and you go near the sea and you get the breeze from the ocean and it's nice, right? But there's none of that. So you're just literally standing there, feeling your body melt down itself, and it's just not nice.
Oh man, it sucks.
Well, it's time to take a trip, man. Come down to Hawaii, man, with 50% all year round. All year round. I appreciated that when I came back from Puerto Rico, man. I'll tell you, I got off the plane and it was like 85 degrees and a fresh air, like nice breeze. It's nice. So that's what's up, man. I mean, you guys really get a lot of rain over there, and it's cold like 90% of the time. So I guess, what do you deal with it? Maybe 2 months, right? You would say?
Yeah, it's weird. We get like the odd random day, maybe.
But wait a minute, DNR has a jacuzzi now, man. DNR has been many upgrades. I know I spilled it early,
I'm
but
addicted to this thing. Like I finish work for a day, and then this is it. I'm done. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm getting in the tub. I'm getting in the jacuzzi.
Well, what did you buy it for? You know, right? You bought it for something to use it.
Well, I'm winding out, and some of my best ideas in the jacuzzi. So
that's it.
Like you heard it here. The next big idea probably was dreamt up sitting in my jacuzzi.
You didn't make a sign for it, like the thinking pod or the thinking tub, thinking tub, or something like that. The think tank, yeah. I mean, listen, no, I don't knock anybody. If you have that in your house and you're not using it, then there's something wrong with you. You know, there's something wrong with you. So. Get in there, do a live stream from in there. I kept bothering him to do a live stream in there. He's like, who's going to click on this video with me in a hot tub, bro? It's like, just from the neck up, bro. Just, you know. But anyways.
Naked English dude spouting up about sim racing.
We must get into the meat and potatoes here, or the beans on toast, as Mr. Daniel loves to eat, which I still don't understand. I tried to get there. Then he gave me shit about the spam in Hawaii. So that's another conversation. But Daniel Newman Racing, DNR has been, you know, we always talk about it. We always talk about the LED profiles, and we always talk about how you're adding devices to the repertoire, but then at some point we crossed, or not we, but you crossed not a line, but you crossed a point where you said, well, now that I have this foundation for LEDs on basically all the sims and every single car, and it's 1-to-1, and now that that's kind of like refined, like what do we do next? And
sure.
I'm excited to present that here with you and go through it with you. And, you know, I'm pretty sure you have your followers and they know kind of the things that you've been releasing here and there. But for those that still haven't made the jump, I want to tell you one word before we get into it, that this is revolutionary. This is something that ties everything together. It's something that I've always wanted. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, if I'm that type of person that if I buy a McLaren and I have that McLaren money, then I want the McLaren keychain, I want the McLaren seat covers, I want the McLaren
the shirt,
whatever,
the hat,
the shirt, the hat, the socks,
gloves.
you know.
Yeah.
I
I get
want
it.
it all to be in the same family, right? So that way, when I go to drive my car, that's it. When I go in my simulator, it's one thing. I don't have to have this plugin and that plugin. And I was telling Eric about this, man. You guys got to be careful with SimHub. When you load up these random plugins, right, that are doing they're doing things that you don't know what they're doing, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have them running in there, and then all of a sudden your game crashes, or all of a sudden you have a lag spike, and then all of a sudden you're trying to hunt for a problem. And the more complex, the more plugins you add, the harder it is to find that problem.
Yeah.
So Daniel Newman has your LEDs. Now he has dashboards. Now he controls my lights. He controls pretty much everything in the rig when it comes to the visual aspect of it, I would say, because you don't do haptics yet. I say yet, who knows?
Yeah.
But there's not a profile for haptics. But again, it's a one-stop shop. There's a single plugin. And have you seen this plugin? It is by far the best freaking SimHub plugin I've ever seen. It's so good that it looks like it's not even part of SimHub. It looks like it's its own app. So
exactly. Yeah.
Let me stop the praise here, and let me give this to the man himself, because that's what he's here for. And Daniel, so the first question for you was, what was the primary motivation behind developing dashboards? I know the endurance dashboard is kind of like your top tier. That is your like that's everything that you guys have been building towards, up towards. You started gradual, but just give us a small explanation on what motivated you, because you already have your business, LEDs, your service, right? Service.
Sure.
And it's an LED. It's LEDs, and that's how you started. So just give us a quick
of course.
Synopsis on that.
So I think we started off because we've worked incredibly hard. I say we. So of course this is myself, Thomas, and Nico. There's a team of 3 of us that do this, and as a team, we work incredibly hard to keep delivering new things. We always say, how do we find something to beat this or to this feature? And every single release, it gets bigger. So I always say, this is the biggest release yet. And then we get to the next one, and I'm like, wow, this is the biggest release yet. And then again, and it always happens. We're all working really hard to develop and make sure that everything is as good as it can be. But we as users, and this is really important for us, is we're not just here to make a product and shill it to customers and say, hey, buy this, is good. We do this because we use it. And that was the fundamental important thing for us, is from day one, we make things that we use and that we're happy with. And if we're not happy with it, we're not releasing it. And it has to be perfect. So as users, we hit this point where we were like, okay, we think that we've got, LEDs aren't nailed because we're always doing new things, new features and making them better, but we know we're on the right track and things are getting good. But the thing that we feel we're lacking on at the moment is dashboards. And this started off primarily because there was one genre of racing specifically that we were looking for a dashboard, and it didn't exist, or at least it didn't exist in what we would call a DNR flavor. And we've got, I guess, a certain standard that we look for, and it wasn't there. So, we looked out and nobody made a dashboard for Rally Sim that was kind of what we wanted. We wanted a minimum approach that delivered simple data in a way that looked great. So design, UX is really important as far as DNR is concerned. And so we decided, look, we've reached out, nobody's making a rally dashboard, at least yet, let's make a rally dash. And that was our first dashboard. And we made the rally dash. The reception was fantastic. It had huge amounts of downloads. People loved it and said, hey, I really like this. You should do some more dashboards. So we said, okay, it wasn't the intent. We kind of made a product that we thought
one thing leads to another.
It filled our gap. But we also had this ideology and mindset that a lot of things, it's very difficult to make a product that's generic across every sim, every car, and have it work in a functional way. And at this point, I think everything we were using was kind of that. It was a one size fits all approach. And for DNR, at least, we didn't think that there was a one size fits all. So people that were rallying needed to have a more simplistic approach. And then equally, we had a use case for oval racing. So we have like NASCAR's IndyCar, and then we developed our Speedway Dash, which again is primarily aimed at oval racing. So it needs to have more data than a rally dash because there are some stuff going on track, but at the same time, it doesn't want to be too busy because there's a risk of putting too much data.
So that makes sense. Yes.
Speedway was born, and we said, look, we don't want to make a dash for every discipline because it starts to get a little bit confusing and muddy, but there are some disciplines that need to have a specific dashboard, and we felt oval was one of them, and we also felt that rally was another. As that kind of went on and we looked at this, people still said to us, this is amazing, you must make a road dash. We were like, okay, there's lots of dashboards out there right now that do a good enough job, and there are popular dashboards. If we make a dash, it has to be different. We do not want to reskin and remake and just basically deliver in a different flavor what everybody.
Right. You didn't want to carbon copy something.
Of course.
Yeah. Right.
So we said, okay, let's investigate, and we spent lots of time doing research, talking to people, and that's kind of how we then got involved with Daniel Morad. Of course, professional GT3 racing driver. Daniel's experience in real race cars is
two-time Rolex world champion.
Yeah, he's got the trophies to say that he knows what he's doing. But he's also a fantastic sim racer with a really good sim racing team called Moradness. His lifestyle brand, they've got their own sim racing team, the M Squad. So we said, look, Daniel, we would like to make a road dash, and we want to make a road dash that's different. We don't want to just be another dashboard that throws everything on the screen and delivers this in this way. We want this, but for drivers like you, professional real life drivers, to say this is different gravy. So Daniel said, listen, I'm looking for a dash like this. I've been trying to develop a dash like this for a long time and I haven't been able to do it. Let's do it. So we spent a long time working really closely with Daniel, with the whole M Squad, to develop this dash. And I would say we spent many, many, many weeks before we even entered into SimHub. So there was hours, weeks, days, probably even into months worth of design and UI work that happened. Thomas is pivotal in the dashboard creation, and his influence, his design elements. Thomas is an absolute genius, and whilst Nico is absolutely the wizard of LEDs, the things that Nico does with me in LEDs is phenomenal. Thomas is what I would call dashboard king, and his design was just sensational. So we developed this product with Daniel, and we said, look, this is what we're going to do. It went through many iterations where we decided, this could be tweaked, this could be bettered. We liked the concept, and then we kind of ran with it. And then we had this, this plan for when we would look to release, etc., etc. And we even got as far as we were about to open SimHub and start the creation of the dashboard. And Thomas said, no, we can't do this. This is not it. And even at it's almost like the 11th hour, we're about to make this dash. We're saying, no, it's not ready. There's more to be done. And this is how much attention to detail. I think when you use the dash, you kind of start seeing the attention to detail elements, and you're like, okay. And this is kind of what went into it. So that's when Endurance was born. We said, okay, we're going to make this dash that works for road racing. So it's called Endurance. It's confused some people because it doesn't mean you can only use it in an endurance. It is just aimed for GT style cars, for LMP cars, hypercars, that kind of thing. Right. But it's called Endurance. It's our name. Our dashes are Rally, Speedway, and Endurance. But the Endurance dash is what we would now consider to be our flagship dashboard. That
is now my main and primary dashboard, I'll tell you. And I had no idea. And Daniel and I talk a lot, and he's very I don't know, you know how to keep these things under wrap, but then when you release something, and I don't mean to interrupt, guys, but I have to say this, like, this is unscripted. I don't have this written down nowhere. When you release something and it's a V1, It's a version 1, and I have every single thing working. I don't have well, let me get some time to work on this. No. This is a dashboard that got installed. Maybe there was a bug or two. I mean, nothing's perfect, right, Daniel? We have to say it here.
Absolutely.
And you guys were all over it because I came back from vacation. I went on vacation. The dashboard went into beta. If you're a team principal, which is awesome, by the way, if you're a team principal for Daniel Newman, they have they always have new things for you to try. So I would give that a go, and they have your own little lounge too. You all chat about things, and you get that sneak peek on what's coming. But man, when I come back home, V1 is out. I install it. I love it. I take videos of it, pictures, send it to Daniel, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it's ready." And it's exactly what he's trying to say here. Is like he's not going to release something that's not ready. He's not going to push something out that he doesn't. How do you say this? You're not going to push something out that you wouldn't like. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same way I am with the show. That's the same way I am with everything. And that's how we all should live, man. I'll tell you. So hats off to this dashboard. We're going to go into it. The emotions come out. Let me slow down. Let me give it back to Daniel. Go ahead, Daniel. Continue the story.
I was going to say, this is kind of where Endurance was born, really. It is our flagship dashboard. Our plugin you mentioned, again, really, really proud of that. Thomas works so
your
hard.
plugging is dope.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's nice.
It's so beautiful.
The dashboard for me is different to others because it's obviously the UI is drastically different. I think a lot of the comments I've seen on it so far from people are like, this just looks insane. It's just so nice to use. And that's amazing for us to hear, and amazing, particularly I like Thomas to hear those things because the effort that went into that UI was phenomenal. And to hear people say, function aside, this looks insane. So that's great. But the plugin, which I think also looks fantastic, there's so much customization in there, and there's so many unique features that other dashboards just don't have, and customizations that users can make it look and feel like their own dashboard. There's already in version 1 lots of customizations, choosing the size of your alerts or the pop-ups or changing.
I loved
that was cool.
That was so dope.
Theme of
and it's not just one size for all.
No,
you can change the size of different elements and have it, if you want it full screen, and then you want, but when I get a yellow flag and that debris, now you have the debris debris or debris.
Debris warning.
The debris, dude, that is so sick, man. I love that, and
that's important for us, is that we delivered all that information, and every driver's got a different preference. So we can't just say to you, this is how you're going to get it. No. You tell me how you want it. We'll provide the options, and then you customize that in your dashboard.
And you can have it per sim too, and it'll automatically switch. So I have my iRacing thing set up, and whenever it loads iRacing, DNR knows that, you're playing iRacing. Let me switch to your iRacing profile. And that talks to, listen guys, that talks to my wheel. It talks to the lights above me. It talks to the dashboard. It talks to Copilot, which we haven't even mentioned. We haven't even touched on that yet. It talks on browse if you have them. It's like you press one button. You know what I mean? That's what I was trying to allude to earlier, is kind of having the same thing in the same family, right?
Yeah.
And these things have a cost, but I mean, it's kind of like, if I was already happy paying for LEDs, and now you're giving me more at the same price, it's kind of like, the support, you know what I mean? Your return on support is by far the best out of any service I've paid for. I tell you right now, on a sim racing, it is
easily
it is hands down, because you could have said, I'm going to have to charge you for this extra feature. I'm going to have to charge you for that other feature. And it's kind of like, no, listen, you're supporting me. This is DNR. DNR is not just LEDs. DNR is becoming its own ecosystem. Like Daniel Newman Racing, right? It's all, I'm sorry again. Let me give it.
So I want to jump in because you mentioned the debris thing and being able to adjust the size of those warnings and those, like, this is going to be, I'm new to iRacing. I would have to Google that flag after a race when it came up. I would always forget what it was, the striped red, yellow flag. I just like probably like a couple weeks ago, was able to remember real time while I was racing what that flag meant. And the first time I was running your new endurance dash and it popped up and it said debris, I was like, that's worth the money.
Not only
instantly.
that, dude, it's just like, I'm driving and endurance racing is my thing. We just did a 24-hour Nürburgring. And you know, Daniel and I talk, and I know he was working on the dashboard, or he had mentioned it on his Discord too. I was like, dude, can you get me this dashboard for this event? Because I really, and he was very, you know, Daniel was very foot down. He's like, no, I can't release it until it's ready for the public. I'm not going to release broken software. I'm not going to, you know, who knows what could have happened if you would have released something and it would have crashed something on my program or whatever, my sim hub, and then I'm in the middle of a 24-hour race. And, you know, I will say this, the low fuel warning is one of my favorite features. It's just a subtle thing, right? So my whole entire rig goes red when I'm low on fuel. And then I have a button that says, okay, on the wheel, and I press it and it goes away. That is, come on, man. That's a touch of reality. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I know. I understand. And it's kind of like, well, you understand, motherfucker, if you run out of fuel, excuse my French, you okayed it. So
it's on you. You accepted that
so
risk.
many things, man. So many things.
It's good to have the customization and be able to say as the driver, because, you know, like you say, I've got my low fuel alert. I can see it. I'm going to press OK and I'm going to hide it. But somebody else would say, I'll forget that in 3 corners. I'll keep the alert there. Or other people.
Exactly. It's your choice.
Yeah. I want alerts on my dashboard to look in this style. And I think we offer 3 different styles, or turn them off. And we split that out for, like you said, various types of flags, different alerts, warnings, that kind of stuff, because we understand that for some people, flags are really important, make that full screen. For other people, like, I want to know, but don't ruin my dashboard over it. Other people say, well, I want this warning in this size. And I think the good thing about the plugin is it's as easy as going into plugin and just pressing tick. You choose your options and then it's done, and they're live too. So there's no restarting plugins.
Yeah, you don't have to restart SimHub or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And it just works, I think.
And you went a step further. I have to pull this out, and then we'll continue on with the next question. We're still on the first question. But he went a step further, and this has never been done before. If you guys see this in any dashboard out there, just know that it was done by Mr. Daniel Newman first. You don't have to have a 4th monitor no more to control your SimHub. Let's say you want to control something. He added a touch interface inside the dashboard where you can make changes, not just to your wheel, to your LEDs, to your dashboards. All your options are inside the wheel. I don't need, for those of you that have a screen in the wheel, right? Or if you have a DDU, you can control it that way.
Yeah.
So let me just make sure I say that.
So I got to jump in here again.
And then we'll continue on after this. Go ahead, Eric.
I promise we'll move on, but I mentioned this to Jason when I was testing it out. I don't know if this was intentional, but hands down, if you're a console player, GT7,
listen, yes,
being able to modify all of those from the screen without having to go to a PC or any of that stuff is priceless. It's priceless. I don't know what everybody else's setup is. I know when I first started out, I was running SimHub just on a laptop plugged up to my stuff, so it sucked to have to go down and go down to the laptop every time I want to change or modify something. Yeah, especially if you're setting stuff up for the first time and tweaking like that, like just being able to do everything from the DDU, from the dashes. That's beautiful.
And this is Thomas magic. So there's so many things.
Shout out to Thomas, man.
Thomas.
Shout out to Thomas.
Big Thomas.
We were working.
Take care of yourself, Thomas. We need you good and healthy.
Yeah, man.
We were working on Copilot, and there were some updates to release. And bless Thomas. Thomas works really hard, and I come up with ideas, and I'm like, hey, we could do this. And Thomas is like, listen, the list is like 20 things long. Don't add to it. But this one day we had this long list, and I was like, Thomas, come on, the list is big. And Thomas is like, I've just thought of this feature. I wonder if we could do this. And I was like, yeah, oh, man, the list is big. What? And he showed me, and I was like, well, the list can wait. And we started like designing this thing up, and he had a test and said, right, go and run it and test it. And I got in my rig, and we fired it up, and I loaded it up on the dashboard, opened control panel, which is what we call it, control panel, and you can do it from any dash that we support. And then all of a sudden, I can cycle through all of my wheel LED themes, or turn the spotters or the something off. And I was like,
yeah,
wow, this is.
Well, that's dope, man. What if you're strained and I just got through a 24-hour race. Yeah. What if I don't want flashing lights or whatever? Or what if I want to, I don't have to tab. First of all, good luck tabbing out while you're doing 200 miles an hour on the straight or into a braking zone. There's no possible way you're going to have time to do that. And if you do, you're the GOAT. But for me, it's a press on my, it's a little touch, and I take the turn, and then I touch another button, and then I take another. I can take my time, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And I can make those adjustments as I go. So, Daniel, it's so nice. I have to move on with this interview, this catch up or hang out with the boys. But Eric, you have the next question for Daniel. Let's keep it moving. There's so many amazing things we want to show you. So let's keep this portion going so we can get to that part.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on this earlier, but I was just curious, what were, I guess, some like the specific challenges like in sim racing that you guys were trying to solve? Like, I know being able to modify things all on the dash, but was there like a specific problem, outside of this, what y'all's own wish list, but something you saw in other dashes and you're like, we need to fix that. This can be better.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things that we spoke about with Daniel Morad was the way information is displayed. So a lot of dashboards will try to pack information on a dashboard, and it's in a way that makes it hard to find, hard to read, it's too small, or there's just something about the readability that isn't quite there. And I wouldn't say that we have it perfect and that, this is the holy grail. I think it's fantastic, and
it's a V1, bro. It's a V1. I think it's
it's pretty damn good already.
It's pretty damn good, Daniel, for a V1.
Laying the data out is really hard. Was really hard, and there's design elements that we wanted to keep that were important to us. So one of the features that I thought people might find Marmite, but for me is it makes it out, and it's the center portion of endurance works on a gauge system. So there is a large central gear telling you which gear you're in. Left and right of that, there's a small indicator telling you what the next gear and the previous gear is. Which people say, but if I'm in fourth, I know I can go to fifth. I know I can go down to third. You do, but when you get to in a car that's got 7 gears, when you hit 7, it won't show you.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that.
So that you've not got anything left. You're at max, and then beside that are 2 vertical gauges which have got changeable information. So they use RPMs as standard, and again, this is important for us because not everybody has got a dashboard with LEDs and stuff. People use the dashboard as overlays, etc., etc. So those gauges use our car-specific RPM data. So the red line points are exactly matched to DNR LED profiles. So if you can't display LEDs for some reason, you can rely on those gauges to say, I'm shifting at the right moment, which is important.
This makes sense, man, because most of us sim racers, we're nice. This is the best community to be in, but we tend to be a little selfish, right? Because we're like, well, I already have this, I already have that, but we're not thinking about those that don't have that, right?
Yeah, of course.
We're not thinking about those that are just starting out. They don't have dashboards. They don't have DDUs. They don't have anything. So they're like, why should I join up with DNR and sign up when it's catered to those that have a specific device? And I think that's a great way of going about it, is saying, hey, man, if you ain't got a $1,000+ wheel, it doesn't matter. We can take care of you this way. We 100%. Can you can give you the data that you're looking for. And then later on, guess what? Your wheel can do way more stuff. But for now, we'll get you going with this.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
And that's important for us. So though to make it accessible and
accessible, yes.
Those gauges have got different customizational behaviors, which mean you can display,
I love that.
Spotters or
I'm already using it as fuel, bro.
It's nice. So making sure the UI was perfect was probably one of the biggest challenges. And like I said, we readdressed that many times. We thought this is nailed on. No one complained, but we still said, no, we can make this better. Let's do it again. And then the second, probably the biggest thing, and I would say we haven't publicly solved this yet, but we are working on it at least. And that is, I see it all the time mentioned, and it's good to address it now, is Le Mans Ultimate as a sim. Now, LMU doesn't output to SimHub very much in the way of telemetry. It uses an old
RF2 plugin. Exactly. Yeah, they're piggybacking off the old stuff.
So there's very, very little data in SimHub for LMU. Now, there are people out there today that will tell you, but you can get all this data in SimHub. Okay, and what they're doing is there's a thing called shared memory where you can basically go in the back door of the game and you can pull data out and you can show it to SimHub and you can expose it that way. Whilst it does work on paper, it's unreliable and it can cause crashes to SimHub because it's quite intensive in memory. So when you've got lots of things running in SimHub, so if you've got multiple plugins for data, for dashboards, for LEDs, to now draw in LMU data, you could be on your final lap at P2 after an endurance race and SimHub crashes and dies and your game is gone. You've just lost the race. For us, that's not good enough. If we can't give it to you reliably, we're not going to give it because there's no point giving you information for you to go out and endure.
That's correct.
For the race to be ruined. So that information is difficult, but we are working on it. We want to find a way of delivering it in such a way that your dashboard doesn't keel over or SimHub doesn't keel over. So lots of things that we can do, are doing, have done, worked on, still working on, etc., to make sure that LMU is more accessible. But at no point, we're not saying you can't have it because we just haven't implemented it or because we don't know or whatever. SimHub can't do it, and that's not SimHub's fault. It's the game. The developers have said telemetry is coming at some point natively. We don't want to wait. So we are working on a solution that means you do not need to go and install a third-party plugin, etc., etc. We want DNR to be, you install our plugin and you're done. You don't have to go and rely on more people to get more things working. Come to us, download it, bish, bash, bong. And that's kind of where we are today. They're difficult things. We've overcome the UI and we are overcoming the LMU one. So,
nice.
So it's not just, the one and done, right? You're actively trying to solve things for the different sims, that are out there. So, I mean, hats off to you. That's awesome. You're working with a very limited game that's, they're saying it's coming out full release, right? But yeah, those are things that we need prioritization on, right? Because telemetry is everything. I don't care about the damn graphics or the things looking pretty. I need to know where I'm at. I need to understand where, awareness is speed, right? That's just the way it is. Awareness is speed. If you're aware, you're fast. If you're not aware, you're lost. So yes, I agree. So let me move on to the next question because we're actually going to do a small showcase of the many wonderful things that the DNR team is working on. Excited for that one. So this is a very quick one, Daniel. So what was the biggest challenge with this new endurance dashboard? Like, the one thing that sticks in your head that you're like, damn, that was kind of hard, but we overcame. So, and it's out now. So what comes to mind, Daniel, when it comes to this biggest challenge developing the new dashboard?
I think other than the things I've just said, because they're still relevant, the other biggest challenge I would say is ourselves. So, and that sounds a bit strange. We're very self-critical and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's less great. We are perfectionists, and whilst we're not perfect and this dash is not perfect, we were always striving to make something better. And I think you run the risk of, you have a product which is great and you're saying, no, let's not go yet, let's make it greater. How much do you stop and keep delaying before you say it's enough, let's go? And I think one of the problems we had, I say problems, it's good because we care and we take pride in our work, it is that we reached a point and a conclusion where we said, this is good, we could go with this. But we kept stopping and going back and saying, let's do this a little bit more, let's just change this. So I think one of the biggest difficulties probably was telling ourselves, this is enough, this is good. There was a lot of anticipation, I would say, about what would be the reaction to endurance. Ironically, it's been incredible, but we always were worried, is it going to be enough? Will people actually like this? Will they use this? Shall we do this? Shall we change that? And at the point that, we said, okay, this is good, let's go, I think we let our hair down a little bit. And it wasn't probably until our team principals got their beta phase and started testing it. And
I started reading through that.
Oh my God, this is crazy. I would say we calmed down a bit then, because we had public feedback that said, this is really good. And it took the worry away. So yeah, I think probably for ourselves, we're quite critical. We are users.
Well, yeah, you can breathe, right, Daniel? I guess, right? You could breathe again, because it's kind of like we're dumping all this work into one thing. And if it's badly received or people don't like it, then it's kind of like, well, what do I do? Like, I'm gonna have to start over. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I tell you what, and I can't even say this, but there's no other way to say it, right? But for a version V1, it doesn't look like a V1 version of anything that I've tried. Usually a V1 is very simple, very basic, and then they gradually add stuff to it, whoever it is that's making these dashboards. So by coming home on vacation and installing this thing and everything to be working was impressive. Thank you. Not just everything working, but features that I don't have with other dashboards that are inside this dashboard that made me say, well, this is it for me. Personally, I'm going to be running this dashboard because it has X, Y, and Z that help me do more things. And imagine that this is a version 1. What's V2 going to have? What's V3 going to have? Which we might pick on Daniel's brain a little bit, but
no pressure.
No, just a hint of pressure. A pinch, just to see if he breaks here on the show. But if he doesn't, we really appreciate you and the time that you're putting into this.
Thank you.
A man that's, I have a lot of respect for people like that. It's like you have a full-time job, he has a family in his house, and then he has the DNR stuff on top of that. Just imagine if you were full-time. I don't even imagine the things that you can do as a full-time developer, I guess, if you may. Yeah. So, well, this is your time to shine, Mr. Danny. You got the stage. If you can go ahead and walk us through some of the beautifulness of the new dashboards, of the new DNR stuff. I can't wait. Over to you, bro. Want to have a live coach available on demand? With Trophy AI, you'll be able to practice with Manso AI at your convenience. A real-time coach in your headphones to navigate and guide you through the track, helping you achieve race pace. This tool is awesome as it provides full brake, throttle, and steering telemetry on screen with a live review getting you ready for your next big race. Check links to Trophy AI in the description and also use Chicane12 in all caps for a 12% discount.
I'm going to start and I'm going to share a couple of pictures with you just to show you.
Yes.
You've never seen endurance before and have got to this point and thinking, well, I've not even seen it yet.
What does it look like?
What does it look like? Let's share and we'll start with this. So this is endurance, or at least this is part of endurance, because of course endurance has got so many customizations that it changes a lot. But this is our default theme. So what we've got here is that center portion, which I mentioned. You've got the large gear and then the small gears either side of it. And then we've got our gauges. Gauges here are currently being used as RPMs. And then we've got our but we can change those so they can either be spotters, which will operate, with left car, right car. You can use them for fuel and energy.
That's my favorite.
You can also change the style of the gauge, so we can remove those dashed lines, or we can.
I like the lines, bro.
I'm
a fan of the lines, but if you like a solid one, you can have the sorry
options.
I'm a solid
straight
guy.
up took his thunder, bro. I'm sorry.
There's customizations in there. We've also got so that in the right hand side you can see a fuel selection of data, and on the left you can see just briefly sectors. Now we call these two side segments adaptive display zones. Okay, and in those adaptive display zones, stick with me, we have adaptive display panels. So we've got 12 panels that you can pick from. I'll show you a quick clip of a video in a second that goes through those panels, and you'll see some of them in action. But they have all sorts of things like a radar, track map, a leaderboard, relative.
This is a V1, guys. Listen
Tires.
to
this. Pit information. There's 12
V1.
and they work fantastically. And then we've got the bottom segment. So here you can see last lap, delta, and best lap. Now, again, that's customizable. So you can select the data that you'd like here. In there, you've got lap times, as you can see here. You can also display fuel information that displays a little bit more than is in the adaptive display zone. Or you can display opponent data, which again is really useful. What you can't see here is some extra customizations because we're in a practice session, which you can just about make out top left. The little Easter egg features. So, when the temperatures change in the bottom left, you get color-coded arrows telling you which direction temperature has changed. You can identify it.
Yeah, man.
Is it getting cold? I can't remember. It tells you. In the top right-hand corner, there are, and those of you probably won't have all spotted this yet, but if you get to a podium place in the race and you are P1, P2, P3, a little trophy will appear beside the position.
It's kind of cool. Yeah. A nice little touch.
P1, P2, P3. It doesn't stay if you lose and you get into P4 and stuff. But as you're going through the race, if you hold a podium position, it will show you that your podium place is going to get you a trophy. It's a cool little Easter egg feature, but it looks really nice. And for me, it's kind of, if I'm nearing P4, I'm like, I need the trophy on the screen. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't race because
you take a picture of it. Yo, I got the trophy, man.
I just want the trophy. So there's so much customization in here, and then at the top of the screen you can see the in-car values. These adapt depending on the car you drive, the sim you're racing. So if you race in a car that's got front and rear arb, for example, that will display there. If you're in a car that uses ERS, that kind of thing, battery deployment, that shows there, and it will show your deploy levels, the status you're in. So the dash changes. What you see here is not fixed. The dash, it does move around.
I love that it's not so busy. You're talking about all this data, but it changes automatically for you. It moves itself around, so it's not like all crammed in a small space. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
something that I find I use quite a lot now is in the center where we have those gauges, you can see on the right gauge there's a green bar at 77%, and on the left hand side there's a small red bar at 4%. What this is doing is highlighting my incredibly poor driving skill and the fact that I'm braking whilst I'm accelerating.
And not all the way.
That always gets me is people say brake to around 80%, and I always think as a not a particularly quick driver, what the 80%? How do I know what 80% is? I'm pushing my foot down. Is
this
it about?
Is good.
I don't know.
Because other dashboards, all they show you is a line. They don't show you the number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look at the number and I say, okay, you said 80%. I'm around it. I've done it. And that makes me quicker. As a driving tool, all the things that we use, if someone's coaching and they say, this corner, 50% brake, or when you throttle here, don't full throttle it, give it maybe 60%, 70%, and then go. I can look at my dash now and go, yeah, cool, I'm about that. And if I'm not, next lap, I'll give it more, I'll give it less, I'll check the dash again, and then you'll learn the muscle memory. So for me, that works quite nicely.
I was just about to say that. That's a great tool to learn where and how much. That's awesome.
So then the other cool features about this are themes. And this is Marmite to some people, but we were in our design program one day, me and Thomas, and we co-work in there. and Thomas was making some changes, and I was watching him work, and he inverted the dash colors, and he didn't do it on purpose, I don't think. And I was like, whoa, and he did it too, and he was like, whoa, and we said, this is cool as this has and so we decided.
We're straight no chaser, Daniel. You can let it out here.
A dark theme.
You don't need the bleep here, even though I love the bleep. But
so let me show you the light theme now. So we have a dark theme, and we also have a light theme. So this is endurance light. So this is a different flavor. So it's essentially the same dashboard, but all of the colors change. So this is not just it's now white and black. It's very hard to pick up in pictures, but everything changes. The lap times now, bright yellow doesn't show on a white screen. So the lap time is kind of an orangey hue to make it still make sense. The gauge colors are slightly different. The green of the throttle is now not lime green. So there's so many design elements here that are really important to make sure that you can see it and it works. So we've got a dark theme. We've got a light theme, which is great. And then we've also got a unique theme, and this is to commemorate Daniel Morad's involvement in the dashboard. And this is the Moradness theme. And what you can't see here, because the exposure of the photo doesn't tell you quite so much, but behind the speed, which is the 126 value in the middle, there is a distinct M logo. Morad's Moradness. And then if you use the Moradness theme, when the dash is not in game mode, you get a unique Daniel Morad splash screen for the idle menus. So it's a kind of a red camouflage background that's got a very, very subtle animation. If you look closely, you'll see the background moving, but it's not enough to make you look at it quickly.
See, this is awesome, man.
But this is unique to Daniel Morad as a kind of a commemorative thank you for all that you've done in helping us design this dashboard. So there's 3 themes. You can choose any of those. We're also working on a pretty unique feature for our partners. So anyone signed up company business as part of a DNR partnership, Precision Sim Engineering are one of those, and we'll use them as an example. They make 2 really special DDUs. You're looking at one of them in this picture, the DDX. For users that plug in the DDR and DDX, they don't know this yet. This is a feature reveal. You will have the option of a specific, unique Precision Sim Engineering theme for your dashboard that nobody else can use. Only users of that dashboard. I don't have a picture, so I can't show you now. But these are just more things to make endurance more for you.
So a small pause here.
Yeah.
Dan and I, we always talk like almost every day. And I'm always on the fence of whether I need a DDU or not. I had one, I had a 6.8. And then it's kind of like, damn, I was shopping for DNR, for DDUs and trying to add a smaller one, maybe on the side or something. And then he comes out with the co-pilot thing. And now I hear this. So I might have to go on there. Man. It's about that time, I think. It's about that time to go back down to the where I started. I had a DDU. So that's awesome. Daniel, that's awesome. Dude, you got all these themes already you didn't have to put that in. You know what I mean? That didn't have to have, it didn't even need that. And you just said, you know what? We're going to dedicate this theme to them. And now I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's
great.
I'm just going to finish up that demo by, I'm not going to show the whole video because it's about 10 minutes long, but I'm going to just skip through a couple of bits of it.
Let's see it, bro. Oh, sure. Yeah.
We've got a video here in YouTube, which I'm going to
And by the way, guys, follow Daniel Newman Racing on YouTube and all the socials. He's always showing off sneak peeks. So I'll leave his links below. Go ahead and give him a follow and check him out. Look at this.
Do it.
This is the dashboard now in its obviously ignition is off state, so I'll press play. So this ignition warning is customizable. You can make that full screen the size it is now, or you can make it a little bit smaller. But this is endurance, so you can see the RPM bars there working.
The spotter,
bars working, and then you can see on the left and the right the ADZs. So on the left, I'm now cycling through those adaptive display panels, showing the options that are available. And there's a number of them: the radar there, lap times, etc. and they're the same both sides. So in the plugin, you can enable or disable the ones that you don't want to see, or you can set the default ones, etc., etc. But again, there's lots of customization. The bottom of the screen, you can currently see the opponents. Again, you can change that in the plugin, which will happen. But it's nice if you are, a certain position to know who's ahead, who's behind, whatever. You can see on the right-hand side there the flashing pink and now the left. When you don't have spotters enabled in the gauges, we allow you to enable spotters as a smaller overlay, as you can see here. So again, people that want to use the dashboard and still know car left, car right, but they don't want to sacrifice those RPMs, as you can see now, you can still have the spotter function, which I think is quite cool. And we've done it in a way that's not too obtrusive and ruins your experience, but it's enough that you can see what's going on and you've got that visual indicator that's happening. Top right of the dash, I really like the positions gained. So you can see above P17, there in my little test here, I gained 6 positions quite early on. So that goes up and down as you gain or you lose. If I just scroll through the video a little bit more, you can see 2 more here if it loads. You can see relative on the left, which will show you as a driver in the center with the gaps around you, and then overall leaderboard on the right, which is quite nice. Bottom right-hand corner is the time. So the time in white is the sim time, and then the time at the bottom is the real life.
Which I love that because I know what time it is.
Yeah, if your wife says to you, you've got to be back in here at 11 p.m.
Don't tell your wives that you can see the clock.
I can see now that
because then they'll be like, "Oh, I know you know the time. You're using the DNR dash. Don't tell her that."
Exactly.
Only 3 minutes left, 11 o'clock. I've got a hustle, so you can see the time, and that's quite helpful too. I'll fast forward.
Dude, I'm sorry. I love that positions gain on the top there. That's sick.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That P16. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to flick through the video a little bit because, like I said, there's a lot in here. But you can see here as we get near the end.
Yeah, flags.
Checkered flag. I'm going to pause it there, so you can see checkered flag. You can customize flags in the dash. So we could have made this just to fill this center section, or we could have filled the screen. Should you want to do that, you can customize that. The dash has also got dark mode, which is something I want to talk briefly about. So dark mode originates because I know the dashes use similar features, but dark mode for me came because way back when, this is about 3 years ago now, I used to drive the BMW M4 GT3, and that was exclusively the car I used to run, and only that car. And I paid a long time before DNR a guy to make me a dashboard that copied the BMW and that went into BMW's orange dark mode when I drove at night and turned my lights on. Because for me, I wanted maximum immersion. And when I drove in the dark, as I did a lot, this full brightness dash just wasn't the one. It hurt my eyes. So I paid him and said, I need a dark mode. Please make it. And he did. And it was great. Then when I started using a different dashboard, I used another popular dash for a long time. And I said to the developer, when I moved across, one of the things I really miss from my BMW dash is a dark mode. When I drive at night, I need to have a dimmed view because it's important for me. And after asking for some time, they implemented it and it's fantastic. So it's a feature that we've always said at DNR, we need this because it helps your nighttime driving. And for an endurance dashboard that's likely to be used across a 24-hour event, you are going to drive in the dark. So endurance has got, like all DNR dashes now, dark mode. So here's an example of it in use. The dark mode has got 4 themed colors. They are purple, like you can see now. It's got blue, it's got red, and it's got orange. In the latest version of this dash and all our LED profiles, you can now use a custom color for dark mode. So it's got a primary and a secondary color, and they can be anything you like. And you can set your own dark mode colors. So now there is absolutely no limitation to what your dark mode will and won't look like.
Yeah, no excuse either.
And then the last thing in the video I was going to show you is the pit lane. So if we skip forward, I'm about to enter the pits, I believe. What's going to happen in the pit lane is we are going to have, there we go. So first of all, when we don't need our pit limiter on, it will tell us to turn it off because we don't need it on. The center section changed. So if I go back slightly, you can see that we've got a big gear, RPMs and speed. In the pit lane, you don't care about most of that stuff. You care more about speed. So when we go into the pit lane, it adapts and the speed gets bigger and the gear gets smaller.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Okay.
That's what's key in the pit lane, right? You don't care really as much.
See, that's attention to detail.
But RPMs in the pit lane, who cares? What I want to know is, am I going too fast?
How fast am I going?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
what?
We change it. And we then also give you the.
I legitimately did not. Oh, I didn't think about it.
Because I saw the screen change. I thought just the background color changed.
I thought it was just blue. Yeah,
I thought the color changed.
Okay, it changes too.
Yeah,
and the color blue matches. So in the DNR plugin, you can tell it what color you want your pit limiter to be. So this video is washed out, but you can just see there's a blue and white LED here. If I change those colors in my plugin to red, this background will also go red, and it would be red LEDs as well.
You
so
see, the same family. That's what I'm talking about right there.
It's in sync.
Yeah.
So we've got this warning here that says turn your limiter on, which is really useful to say, look, activate the pit limiter.
I need that big.
This is when it's on. It's saying, look, your limiter is on, you're safe. But it also tells us, if I can find it in my video, where it goes.
It went red, like you turned it off for a second.
Yeah. I'm speeding.
It's telling you to activate it.
So it's saying activate it, and the LEDs are going crazy. So it's a warning to say you're in the pit lane and you've got no limiter on. What are you doing, you lunatic?
Yeah. I'm trying to kill somebody. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you leave the pit lane, and it only come momentarily before the video finishes here, you get this button. So the second you cross the line, you get this warning that says turn the limiter off. Because a lot of us are looking for the line and then we're losing time because we're looking for that pit line and saying, where can we turn it off? Well, this tells you. So you haven't got to look for anything. When it flashes green, and the LEDs, again, hard to see, but the one on the right here is doing it and the one on the left is doing
green.
Go green to say, get gone. Off you
But
go.
not only that, it's just, that's one part of it, right? Because the lights above me they turn green.
Yeah.
The co-pilot screen will turn green. The browse will turn green, I believe. Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have a LED matrix, they will turn green. It's like awareness. We're not trying to, you can make this however you want it. If you want all the lights to turn on, you can do that. If you want one light to turn on, it doesn't have to be like a circus or anything. If you can, it's your choice. I rather have the many different warnings so I would never forget. There's no way I forgot. If I forgot, that means I fell asleep. That's it.
I like too that the dash, if I had to kind of sum it up in one thing, is it's alive. Like it brings, it ties into your rig and it makes your entire rig alive. So now instead of just only getting information from your DDU screen, this 5, 6, 7-inch screen, the entire rig is communicating to you visually, and it's all synced up. And I really like that.
So I have some comments. Like, you go on Instagram and you see, the popular Killian's a big popular guy. He's always on Instagram showing off his rigs. And shout out to Killian if you're watching this, brother. Just the many different creators out there. And before this dashboard, well, many of us were using many different things, right? And they all look identical. But when you have DNR stuff and you can customize my pit lane, this is my rig. I wanted this color. I wanted that color. And you know what I'm trying to say? It's kind of like there's a familiarity with it, but then there's that uniqueness that this is you're sitting in my rig. This is my rig. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I look at other dashboards, I know what dashboard it is. I know exactly what he's using. I know the same color scheme. But when you have something that you can make and create and it be yours, whilst still giving you all that information that you're looking for, is top tier. Honestly, it's top tier. This is revolutionary. To me, this is the king of dashboards.
Thank you.
That might be the title of this video. I'm still thinking about it. But this it's the king of dashboards. Like,
that's
what
else?
That's
a strong argument, man. For real.
As of July of 25, year 25, this is the best thing that I've seen so far when it comes to everything, from the UI, from the attention to detail, from the customization, from the plugin, from the ease of use. And I've never had an issue with any of DNR stuff. Never. And he is not paying us. He is not paying us to come on the show. He is here out of his own free will from the UK. We can't touch him. He's too far away.
And also, we're not just saying this to be nice because he's a friend. It's really
he is
based
a friend
on,
of mine. He is a friend of mine. And guess what? Daniel Newman, and I said this before we started recording, and I'll say it here. We're not even done with the interview, but this is our show. So but I'll tell you what, Daniel Newman is a big friend of mine. Like we speak about many things every day. We talk about guitars, bro, all the time. We go back and forth, Fender against a Gibson, and he made me buy a freaking Gibson. It's in there, so and I love it. So, but my dog passed away recently, and Daniel was, he was checking up on me all the time. Michael too. So shout out to Michael. And these are friends that I didn't know before having a simulator. How is it that I could build a simulator, start filming a show on a camera, and meet these amazing creators and these amazing people with so many ideas that their head is about to explode? Like Daniel comes from the old school, man. He's like, man, I was making lightsabers, for Star Wars back in the day, and look at him now. You know what I'm saying? So I think we still got to continue the final 3 questions, but I just want to say, man, thank you so much for doing what you do, and thank you so much for being such a good friend and supporting me when I was down. And I told you this before. Everybody trips and falls, but having a hand to extend and seeing the hand to extend to help you get up, it means a lot to me. It's not about we're not here just trying to promote DNR and all this stuff. We're excited to see the stuff that he's working on and what he evolved himself and his Daniel Newman Racing, and made it so where it's not just one thing, it's just all things. You know what I mean? It is my rig. Daniel Newman Racing is my rig now. Those lights are on, my dashboard is on, my other than my pedals and my steering wheel, I guess, and my speakers. But I'm just
thank you.
It was a difficult time for me, so I want to say, here on the show in front of everybody, thank you so much for being the solid rock man for me. And you're so far away, and you just took the time to say, how are you doing today? Just a simple message, means a lot when I wake up and I see it, so thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate that, man.
And I appreciate you too. Thank you.
So let's continue, because it's very exciting. I just want to cut the podcast, and I want to go on and see what else I've been missing here. Those little details are there. You know what I mean? They're there. So who's got the next one? Is it me? I'll take the next one. Yeah, I'll take the next one. So Daniel, real simple. After all these dashboards, right? Speedway is a great thing. You guys need to check that out. If you're a NASCAR guy, there's not really a dashboard out there that does what that his Speedway does. So you should really give that a go. But we're talking the latest and greatest, which is the endurance dashboard. So are there any features you wanted to add, but there wasn't a way to something happened and some external factors, like example, data is not available, or the target hardware like limitations, or the wheel can't do it, or you know what I mean? I know touch screens are very limited because you only have a 4 quadrant. Even when you do the advanced thing, it's really just 4 positions. So is there anything that you wish you could have added? I know it's a V1, and I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. So
I've got to be careful what I say, because
I know I'm digging a little deep here
through the channel across to me now and through my window. Thomas, I've locked the door. No, we've got a list of things that we're doing now. So as of today, right this second, we are finishing creating the XL variant of Endurance. So Endurance is not just a regular dashboard. It also fits on, people use, for example, the larger Porsche 10-inch dashboard. There's an XL version coming for that. And there's also a slimline version, which is also 10-inch, but narrow top to bottom. And that's called the UXL. So they're being built right now. As well as those, we've got a list of features that we're also adding, which is going to be a mixture of features with UI, that kind of thing. So one of the things I'm really proud of is how receptive Nico and Thomas are in our Discord. It's such a thriving, good community place. And I don't feel that anybody ever speaks in there and kind of feels that they are being dismissed. So anytime someone gives us a feature, generally speaking, we'll do our very best. And there's been a bit of that since Endurance came out. People saying, can you do this? Can you do that? Don't always agree with it. But ultimately, we do our very best to make it happen. So I would say 95% of the things asked of us since release that have been asked for are coming. Things like they want a headlight flash warning, they want turn signal warnings, or whatever it is. We're doing it all because
we got to be careful what we say here, because then
I'm not going to overcommit.
Overcommitting, right?
Yeah.
So
LMU, we would have liked to get LMU working prior to release, but there's a line where we say we can make it work and we can release it, but you're going to have to wait, and then you can have it all together. Or we say, just take it, have fun. LMU will work on the most part, but you'll miss things like ABS, TC, or virtual energy, as an example. They'll come. So it would have been good to have them straight away. But at the same time, the LMU users that need it don't make the largest portion of dashboard users. And whilst they're very important, it didn't seem like it was much sense to make the dash stop just for those things. So yeah, could we have done those things? I would have loved to have launched the dash with those. Are we going to provide those? Of course. You just have to wait a bit. We're working on. The list is ridiculous, if I'm honest. Of things, the stuff coming from DNR, it blows me away. Sit tight. Good things are coming. If you think Endurance is good, you ain't seen nothing yet.
But wait,
I'd like to hear.
Is it Steve Jobs?
That one more thing.
Oh, one more thing. Okay, all right. We'll let them off easy here, Eric, on with that.
I think we got enough goodies today. So.
I think from the time he mentioned the dashboard and from this time span that it released, it just hit me by surprise. Like, you can explain, we can sit here and talk about the features like we did, but it wasn't until you actually install it and use it and start noticing those details that you get. Like, I didn't even notice, and I've been I got home and I was like, I need to put hours into the dash. I want to know what have I missed, right? Because Chicane Podcast, Word Media, I need to know what's out there so I can inform you guys. Eric, same thing. Me and Eric are on the phone, like, oh shit, it does this, it does that. And we're having a conference literally about the dashboard. And I'm taking pictures and videos on the phone and sending them to Daniel. And he's like, yeah, you could do this, you could do that. Did you have the latest, what do you call it? You asked me if I had the latest LEDs on my wheel too, so it could match. So I tell you what, excuse me. The Discord support on Daniel Newman Racing is interesting because it has as many different portals of announcements. Like, this is very separate from his products, but just to tell you how involved he is in his community. So I have to give my hats off to him. He does competitions too, so don't miss those with the food and everything. Which I was a little late to the party, but Amazon, I was ordering these cans of beans. I still got them. So if anybody wants,
I'm eating beans on toast.
Beans on toast. And yeah, if you become a principal too, if you want to try it out, and see what the discussion is and have that first, that first glance of taste of the very hot off the press. And they do beta tests. Like, I love that. That's awesome. You get to build a dash with him. So, and for the final question, I'll give this over to Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
Very simple questions for him. Because I'm just, how do you say this? I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for the dashboard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, simple questions because the proof is in the pudding, and in this case, the pudding is the dashboard. So,
or the fish and chips, as they say.
The fish and chips.
But
speaking of one more thing on this last question, what is your favorite feature of the endurance dash? You got to pick one.
That's a hard question. You got to pick one.
Got to pick one. What's your favorite feature?
Taking a deep breath, bro.
Okay. Favorite feature, but then I've got one thing that's a standout that I just have to mention. So favorite feature is going to be not a function of the dash, but the UI, and that is because, for example, a function can be presented in lots of dashboards, right? You want to know what position am I in, what's the lap time, etc., etc. Okay, and you can do that in way A or way B. I can tell you what position you're in, how fast your lap was, and who's ahead and behind on a dashboard, and it can look like, my child made it at school, or I can do it in a way that you think, whoa, this is good. And so much of the feedback on endurance is about the UI, the looks. So data is great, and without the data, what is the point? But actually, anybody with some time, effort, knowledge can put the data into a dashboard.
Correct.
Different and separate.
It's open source. Correct.
From others is our ideas, our ideology, our mindset, and our design. And I think our design is unique, and I'm really proud of it. I keep saying it, but Thomas's design work is sensational. He's so good. He's such an integral part to DNR. Nico, with all the ideas that he brings, his knowledge, just as a team, I could not ask for a stronger, better team. I actually love them both dearly. They're really special to me, like you talked about, on a friendship basis. And the UI that we've developed to make this what it is today, for me, standout feature is the design. The 0.5 thing I want to mention is that we've made this accessible as well, and that's also really important, and I'm proud of that. So DNR for me is, I understand people say a subscription service. That's not the one. I'm not paying it. DNR costs either £3 a month or £6 a month, and that gets you all the products. If you want to go over and above, you can spend £9, and all that gains you is the principal lounge, which is a really good place to chat, and you'll see in there it's quite lively, and you get early access and some other unique rewards. But if you just want the products, they cost £3 and £6. Now, £3 is less than a cup of coffee, so for me it's cheap, and for the hours that we put into it every month, a lot.
And he's not a single man either. Daniel has to take the share and share it across. He is a team. It's a team. It's not a single. It's not a single man behind the camera here doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? So
so your subscription is shared, and that's important. And the thing that makes it accessible is all of the dashboards are completely free. So we say they cost £3.
Wow.
The dashboards
they're free. So
you can download the plugin, you can download the dashboards, and you can use every dashboard for free. And they come with default.
What are you waiting for?
Customize the dashboard and you want to make it really unique, that's a membership perk. But everybody can download the dashboard, and you will get the RPMs as standard that match cars. If you don't have access to it in any other forms, we'll give that to you. So people who want to try endurance can download it today, and it won't cost them a penny. There's no trial, there's no information, and you can test it and just download it. And if we don't see you again, then have fun. That's it.
Wow.
But it's accessible, and we understand that not everybody in sim racing has got £1,000 wheel or a £3,000 set of pedals, and that's fine. If you want to have fun, but you want to be part of this, download it. Go have fun. Just join the community. Don't have to pay anything. Talk to us. Be part of the conversation, and we appreciate you too. So making it accessible is important for us too. So I'm also really proud of that.
Hats off to you, man. That's awesome. Top tier. To me, top tier for real. To me, it's a small price to pay to keep my rig in sync and alive, because I don't want to pay for multiple things to do. How do I say this? I don't want to pay for multiple services. I want to narrow it down as close as I can. And Daniel is actually helping with that big time. You know what I mean? And he's doing it at a high quality, something that's never been done before. A lot of these features, you're not going to find them on a dashboard that you can download from Race Department or something like that. You're not going to find this type of quality, and they're free. Like, what are you waiting for? So I'll leave links in the description. Just give it a try. Like, if you don't believe us, go ahead and try it for yourself. The product speaks. The dashboard will speak for itself. Promise you. Exactly. You'll find out real quick that this actually works, and we're actually we're speaking facts here. So
we're not blowing smoke.
I'm really proud of you, Daniel. Like from the last time that you came on the show, not the holiday party, just the first time you came on the show. Look how much has changed from a man that works full time, has a beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you.
Has wife, kids, house, job, and then a second job that he's basically losing sleep off of every night.
Yeah, second full time.
And then I keep his ass up too, because I'm in Hawaii, so I'm like, dude, you need to be up so we can have a conversation. I want you to just look at that video, or just think about it. You don't have to watch it. Just think about where you were and where you are today, and all the hard work that you're doing. It's amazing. Like, it's something to be proud of. If your favorite feature is the UI, that makes sense, because the UI is a representation of the evolution that you've taken to get this vision onto something that you can see, right? How do I get the picture up here to come on to the screen and look the way I want you to look? So I kind of understand why that's your favorite thing, right? It's kind of like it has your flavor, right? It has that mark to it. Like, by the way it looks, that it's coming from Daniel Newman Racing. So I'm really proud of everything. I'm really happy. I can't wait to shut the camera off because I'm going in here. So I guess I'll do a quick round table before we say our goodbyes. If there's anything you think we need to cover, that's for both of you. We'll start with Eric. Eric, what do you think? Do we have anything else for Mr. Daniel Newman? I know we covered very briefly the co-pilot stuff. Mm-hmm. I want you to go on Daniel Newman's YouTube. He has tutorials on every single thing that he's made so far. And it's on there, and he does live streams too, so you can see it working live too. So check him out. That's my round table. What about you, Eric? What you got for us?
Nothing, man. Just kind of echoing the same sentiments, man. I remember meeting Daniel and being new to the sim racing community. And when he came on the show, me being new, but also, being in the midst of Google searching all the different things you need for your sim and seeing his name pop Google up. And then it's like, I look up and he's on the show. I'm like, damn, like this guy that's like got my LEDs popping on my wheel. Like, he's a nice guy, like very passionate, very driven. And me, whenever I see people that have found their passion, that kind of does something to me. But yeah, man, just kind of reminiscing and thinking about how far you've come and thinking about where you guys are going, the focus. Sally, you got a great team over there. And I just wish y'all the best of luck, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So, Daniel, my final goodbyes to you, brother. I'll probably chat right after we cut this. But I just want to thank you for the attention to detail, for thinking outside the box, for finding a way to not carbon copy something, or, being original, because LEDs started right here. One-to-one LEDs started right here. The rally dashboard started right here. The touchscreen interface I'm pretty sure somebody's going to copy it. But I want to tell you, it started here, and we need people like you. We really do. We need humans like you, because humans like you are always trying to solve the problem for us. They're always trying to find a way. Well, this can be done. How can we get it done? And I really appreciate you as a whole, dude. You're totally different. I can't wait to meet you.
Thank you.
We're all gonna be hanging out at this Sim Gaming Expo, and if you would like to go, Chicane 10 is still active. We make zero profits from it, and I'm being told that it's still the #1 used code for the expo. So I'm very proud of that.
Let's go.
And if you would like to meet Daniel Newman, he's going to be over there with us. He's a little shy. We'll see. We'll get a few beers in him. He'll come alive. So
He's British.
the British of him will just pop out and say, "Yo, what's up, man?" So, yeah, man. So I wish you the best of luck, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Put your head down, focus on the features, and everything will work itself out. I promise you. Because when people start using this thing and they actually see what it can do, there's no more talking at that point. You know, there's really no more talking. So give it a try, guys. It's free. DanielNewmanRacing.com. Check out his Discord, YouTube. If you have any questions for Daniel, and you know, if you don't feel like posting them on his Discord, then send us an email at thechicanepodcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment below this video. And that's about it for me, man. So with that, Daniel, thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me again. It's been a pleasure, both of you. Thank you.
We'll do it again sometime. We'll do it again. We'll have a posse here. We're definitely going to reconvene in September. I have some plans over there. So with that, guys, thank you so much, and have a great start of your week. Thank you.